And finally, the moment you've been waiting for, St. Paul's Cathedral and Medusa. The idea here was to create something that blended the historical with the fantastical, a set that felt real since St. Paul's is real, but also a place that would be unique for audiences. This is also where Valentine's dreams for London burn the brightest, where Medusa is hidden. And who doesn't like visiting a movie villain's fortress?
Philip Reeve came up with this great notion that, that the most familiar building in this new attraction version of London, St. Paul's Cathedral, familiar to us today, is actually the home of this weapon that Valentine creates.
St. Paul's was exciting because it was the heart of the antagonist in the film.
This is a world where St. Paul's is sitting on the seventh tier of a big moving city of London. You're thinking, okay, well, we couldn't do that today, but certainly in the future, 2,000 or 3,000 years, they figured out a way to do it.
It reminds me of like old 60s kind of like futuristic movies.
Firing sequence terminated.
We spent a long time shooting stuff in there. It's like a puzzle-solving exercise.
So you've got this incredible history of people loving St. Paul's, and then you've got it being used for nefarious purposes, and that kind of has this friction. In the book, they talk about how difficult it was to keep St. Paul's together on a moving city, because all the stones would crumble and fall apart. So it was finding that kind of balance between a reconstruction for the future and something that exists now.
The first challenge for recreating St. Paul's Cathedral is that we don't have a stage big enough to create it. We did a little bit of shrinking, but only a very little bit, like maybe 10%.
There's this whole thing about the old stuff, like something that goes back to almost medieval. St. Paul's has been around for hundreds of years, so there's a mixture of stone and metal.
We have all the stonework that has survived the 60-minute war, all these pieces that have been resurrected, and they've been held together by this metal that the builders of London have used to build their whole ship.
We had this look of this sort of blue iridescent steel. It kind of stuck as an aesthetic which sort of trickled down through the rest of London.
You also had Medusa as this sort of infectious mechanical thing that's now a part of it.
It's where Valentine's using his power, and he's being corrupted by his own power, to destroy huge populations.
It's at the top of the city, so if you're going to fire a quantum energy weapon, it's good to do it from the very top. It's also a building in which he's able to build this weapon in secret.
The reference of Medusa is really coming back to nuclear weapons in a way. It's like, do you want weapons this powerful? Do you really want to destroy the world all over again?
In the book, it's described as like a cobra hood and also sort of orchid-like a flower, sort of the petals of the dome unfurling.
We had all these sort of wonderful lighting tricks that we could do.
There's all these different color stages that it goes through before it gets ready to fire. There's massive amounts of lighting cues. My lighting guy had blisters on his fingers just trying to program the lights in time for the scene.
The rest of the weapon is the cables and control structures and everything that goes all the way up to the dome of St. Paul's.
They've managed to get it to the point where it will fire out this electrical plasma-type beam.
It would be pretty much a completely CG effect to sell how big the destruction is.
Sci-fi sheds light on who we are and how we live and what we believe in a way no other genre can. You're projecting into the future or into an imagined world. As a result, you're somehow holding up the world in which we live.
The world of Mortal Engines is a nutcase world to some degree, wonderfully nutcase, but you actually buy it, you believe it.
There's something really cool about an imagined world. It's all about embracing the world. It's all about embracing the depth of the writing. We have our script, but we also have the novels to fill out the depth of the culture. And so it's not that different to Tolkien's world. It's still a world of fantasy. It's still a world you have to create and find.
The thing that ultimately hooks you into any story when something's starting to feel true is when you get a sense of the characters interacting in the most natural way possible with this world.
And you've lost the knob.
This incredible scope and vision that they brought to London is just mind-boggling.
They were completely at the reliance of the talents of everyone from our production designer to our concept illustrators to be as innovative as they could be. Creating a character like London was a huge undertaking and world-building process.
So as you've seen, it takes such a massive team to make a traction city like London come to life. I hope you've enjoyed exploring this incredible creation, and never forget, movement is life.